Hey guys, let's talk about tonight's episode of Scandal. This one's going to be real quick. I enjoyed this episode. Olivia is turning into Jake 2.0, basically. So, do you remember when we first met Jake and he was surveilling Olivia? Well, Olivia is now doing the same thing to Jake. And she gets Quinn and Huck, or Quinn and Marcus, or whoever she gets to install all this equipment into Jake's apartment, and she starts surveilling him. And the funny thing is that he knows, and at one point he's making out with his fiance, and he looks directly at the camera, and it's like so creepy. And he shows up at her place, and he's like taunting her, and he's just saying all these things. Did you like it? Did you get off on it? I was like, oh my god, these two. I just don't know how much more of it I can take. But at the end, so throughout this episode, there was a lot of closure. So, there's a scene where Huck kidnaps this man who he thinks is somebody that he tortured back in the day, and that he thinks he's coming back to try to steal his family because he's dating his ex-wife. It turns out not to be the case, that it's not the right person. But, basically he was like, I need to let it go. I need to let her move on, and I need to move on. And sort of, Olivia's sort of having these thoughts like, okay, maybe I need to stop surveilling Jake, trust what he's saying, because he's like, she's just a normal person. She likes this and she likes that. And that's what I need. I need normalcy. So she basically says to him, look, I, was jealous and I was stalking you and all that. She admits, she was stalking him, whatever. But she's like, let's, like, bygones, basically. Like, I'm done. Let's call it truce. And then at the end of the dinner, she has like these flashes back to when he met her, when he bumped into her in the cafe. He dropped her phone. He cracked it. He bumps into her again accidentally, which really wasn't. So in her mind, she's like, yeah, this is not all what it seems to be. So she basically puts the call out to Quinn, is like, let's ramp up our investigation on Jake. So she's not letting go of her theory that something is going on between her dad, and this woman, or Jake, her dad, and this woman. And, it'll be interesting to see how that develops. Now, of course, we had Red putting two and two together in this episode that Cyrus was actually working for Vargas, and she, starts to ask people to look into this. And of course, she's right. We all know that she's right. And she takes this information to the president. The president's like, boom, let's get rid of, well, she's basically like, let's get rid of him. I will be your new chief of staff because I can do this. And she was pretty badass in this episode, I will say. And Fitz is like, pull the trigger. Basically, every woman was telling Fitz what to do in this episode, as per usual, because he's so useless. Oh my God. Even what's her name? Ross. She was basically screaming at him in her office because now we've got Hollis Doyle running for president. So he obviously is supposed to be the Trump type character in this election race. The billionaire who's got all this money, who can fund his own campaign. And he's just so offensive and disgusting. And basically what we're seeing on TV every day from Trump. So obviously, and then of course you hear the people, oh, well, he's a joke. No one's going to take him seriously. Well, look where we are, people. So anyway, so that situation happened. And of course, this is not making Melly very happy. This is not making Susan Ross very happy, because they all know that they're going to have to go up against him. And even, Doyle stole Melly's her catchphrase that she was going to use for her campaign, like word for word. So he really screwed Melly over. We didn't really see much of Fitz's dad. And there's nothing wrong with that. He was just right at the top of the episode. And obviously, just to show again that Olivia's trying to play nice in this little threesome that's going on here. And she's really just digging for information. And I'm hoping that we sort of get somewhere soon with this, because I don't want to keep hearing Olivia say something's going on without there's something actually going on. And then we had a really good scene with Quinn where she's basically laid into Olivia and was like, look, I've been running the show. Don't act like we're family ever since, all this happened. And it's true. I've been like, I haven't really been saying it, but I've been feeling it that, obviously ever since Olivia got kidnapped, she's not been the same. And, there's a lot of like crying, and there's a lot of just like pouty mouths and letting her dad run all over her. And I'm like, seriously, how much more of this can we watch? Because we like to see the woman who's stomping up and down and taking care of business. And we haven't really seen that lately. Now she's like sitting on her couch stalking Jake. Nobody wants to watch that. So Quinn lays into her. She lays into her back. She's like, I was kidnapped, and for a week of my life, everything was taken away from me. My life was taken, like, blah, 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 my rights and all that. So she's basically like, and then I was sitting in the office, the Oval Office, and I was running the country, and da, 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 da. She's like, I can basically do what I want because I can do what I want, and blah, 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 blah. And she just, like, threw it back at Quinn. And I was like, all right, that's all well and good, but let's get back to business, like what you guys really do. You know, taking people down, taking out names, all that kind of good stuff. And Marcus is just the cutest. I like the episode, like at the top of the episode when him and Huck are watching Javi play soccer and then they give each other high fives. I like that Marcus is starting to make his way sort of into this organization of OPA. But again, like they're not telling him anything and he doesn't know anything. So, you know, when Huck is, you know, wondering about this guy, he's not thinking it's suspicious other than him just being jealous of some guy who's dating his ex. Not that he's some crazy psycho killer. And, you know, how's Quinn? Like, you can't be mad at him. How is he supposed to know that, right? So I like that Olivia was like, you guys start telling him more stuff. And then, you know, at the end of the day, though, does he really need to know everything? Because it would make me want to run. I need to run. So at the end, when he's like, so Quinn, have you ever killed anybody? She's like, that's enough sharing. I'm like, right. So, anyways, it was a pretty solid episode. We ended with the president basically backing Susan Ross's stance that she wants to, you know, not be interfered with because she's going to be the one out there on the campaign trail doing everything. So basically, don't tell her what to do. I liked this stuff with Abbie and that he supported Abbie in her quest to become a chief of staff and firing Cyrus. And I'm sure Cyrus is going to land on his feet. Let's face it, he's got 9 lives, so he'll be fine. I like that Olivia is starting to get a little bit more like the Olivia that we knew. Okay, you know, yes, they're putting in her all these colors. She's wearing orange in this episode. Last week she was wearing red gloves or red dress. Like, we get it. She's no longer wearing the white hat, but let's see her actually do something now. Yeah, so, you know, pretty decent episode. Hollis is now running for president. He backstabs everybody, but, you know, that's just the way it's going to be. So it's interesting to see how it's going to move forwards in these last, you know, few episodes with the presidential campaign going on and Olivia trying to figure out what's going on with her dad and Jake. And then, you know, will Javi be able to, like, put everything aside and just sort of move forward? Hopefully he will, because, you know, I like the lighter side of Javi. I mean, of Huck. Sorry, not Javi. Of Huck. Okay, guys, that's it for me. Let me know what you thought of this week's episode. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you next week. Bye, guys.